Hey, one of the things that I want to ask you too about is this media. I know there's not a conspiracy on these things, but it does seem that there is an ecosystem and a plan around this ecosystem as we get into kind of hit piece season here, with the Atlantic and the Guardian being the preferred medium to get all sorts of wild accusations out there. I want to talk about particularly what's happened with the Atlantic magazine, which used to be this great, powerful, intellectual magazine that Trump disparaged a slain soldier. Everybody has come out against this, said it's not true. Has the Atlantic now kind of sold itself out now that it's owned by a billionaire who's very close to Kamala Harris and is a big fundraiser for her? What's happening with these sort of left media outlets and how they're being used to push stories into the wider ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't ignore the fact that, right, Steve Jobs' widow, Lorraine Howell Jobs, is the owner now there, and she is a major donor and friend of Kamala Harris. And so that is kind of at the forefront for sure. But look, the Atlantic is the one who started this story back, years ago. With John Kelly maybe said this, and it's all these very poorly sourced stories. You can always look and see if there's a story that you should believe if you've got a lot of anonymous sources, if you've got kind of, this person heard this person say it. That is not journalism, and that's what happens so often with these. The Atlantic has done this a lot. Now, the Atlantic has some good journalism. They have some good columns. They also do this in the October surprise timeframe, where they are just trying to, get that final little knock at Donald Trump, make it seem like he is some anti-military person. It's completely outrageous. Look, you could say a lot of things about Donald Trump. I think it's pretty clear. He is who he is. We see it. There's not some hidden person behind the scenes. You either like him or you don't like him, but he is who he is. This kind of thing doesn't seem like it's going to work, but they are going to try it, and I don't think they're done.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems to me that if you, let's say, worked for a president who walked around admiring Hitler, you might have left or you might have said something and not waited 5 years to say something, like with John Kelly. But I want to ask, too, also with the media and the ongoing freak out by the New York Times and others that Donald Trump, oh my God, did a photo op at a McDonald's, because no politician has ever done a photo op where they got on the tools before. But I wanted to draw your attention to this particular line in a New York Times piece that dives into the controversy over whether Kamala Harris herself ever worked at McDonald's, as she claimed. And the New York Times has called this Trump seeding of doubts about Harris's story, which she cannot prove as being outside the lines of traditional fair play. Does this just illustrate the total double standard here, where Trump is held to this impossible standard, and whatever Kamala Harris or a Democrat says, well, we obviously believe them?
Right, exactly. Yeah, no proof, but sure, of course, let's just take that at its word here. It's true unless proven otherwise. Yeah, that's exactly the hypocritical double standard there. First of all, why are they so mad about the McDonald's photo op? Because it's effective. Because it's a powerful tool, not just to show him in a setting that's kind of the people, but because it raises the doubts about Kamala Harris's authenticity. It doesn't really matter all that much whether she worked at McDonald's for a few months, but what it does matter is that there are outlets like the Washington Free Beacon that looked at her first jobs that we can see, and those applications show that she lists all her past jobs, and McDonald's wasn't in there. The McDonald's story came about 5 years ago when she was running for president. Never came up for decades in the spotlight. Now, maybe she did, maybe she didn't, but what we know is it calls to mind her inauthenticity. And the media, they're very happy to take her word for it. And I got to be honest, it would not shock me at all if there's President Donald Trump next year, Kamala Harris's McDonald's record is suddenly a story in the New York Times in maybe April or May, when they really get around to actually doing some journalism about it.
Well, we'll see about that. Steve Krakauer, thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.